Hey guys, how's it going? So this is the fourth video in the series of installing FilmAf on Linux VM. And since our last session, I think the only thing that I did to the environment, I started sanitizing the database so that we can share it with you and removing all the personal information, including password hashes and email addresses and things like that. And the other thing that I did was I installed a couple of applications. I'm really a big fan of JetBrains. They put out a very nice set of developer tools, and we may use some of those in our work here. But let's get started. So if you recall, what we did last time was we did the entire installation of Ubuntu, of Apache, of MySQL, and that came from the regular distribution packages. Then we did some customization in particularly MySQL because we needed to be backwards compatible with the version of PHP that we are using. And we also compiled PHP from scratch, and there were a different series of challenges that you face depending on which version of PHP you're compiling. And the way you get over that is just by Googling stuff. So right now we have all these elements working with each other. And what we're going to do is add the DVDAF modules, which are written in C and C++. And if you recall, in the last video I mentioned that the reason why we did that, as opposed to write the entire site in PHP, was because the server that we had couldn't handle the load. And by writing pieces of it in C, we got it to be more performant. And there are other things such as Unicode libraries that also we wrote in C, because those would be quite a challenge to write in PHP. And at the time, PHP didn't support Unicode. Anyway, where are we? So we need, let's just create I'm just gonna minimize that, get rid of this. We got a terminal, and we're gonna go to where. Okay, the way I like to do this is I usually create a directory, either install. In this case, there is an install, there is a download, right? And in this directory, I do my backstaging before I move things where they should be. So just going to open the terminal over here, and right now the packages or the information that we're going to be using is all in the share that we created in the initial session. So if I open the terminal here as well, you're going to see that you have a bunch of packages, and we're going to go over what these mean. So I'm just going to put this guy over here and this guy over here, and I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so that I'm not wrapping stuff as often. There you go. Cool. So, the other thing is, if you don't remember what the commands are and you used them previously, there is something called history, and that is like all the commands it remembers you did it in this shell. As a matter of fact, before we even start this, we do a sudo -s. And then a lot of people are cringing, but hey, that's the way I do it. When you're doing, you can do it whichever way you feel like. So what I'm going to do is history, and that's the list of all the commands that you did previously. I'm just going to grab that for tar, and you can see what we use to create tars and what we use to expand archives. So this is what we use to expand archives. Just gonna get this, and I know that the archive that I want to expand is in that VM share, and because I don't want to the disk of the VM to grow unnecessarily, I'm only gonna expand the archives in the share, in the VM, as opposed to bring the archives to the VM and then expand them. And that should work fine. So we'll start with okay, here DVDAF PHP modules. So I'm going to expand that, and you can see that right now I have PHP-ext, and within PHP-ext we have those two DVDAF modules that we talked about in the previous video. And the first one, which is DVDAF, it's written in C, you can see it there. And the second one is DVDAF3, and I don't remember why 3. I think because the second attempt didn't quite work. Is in C++. And we're not going to go into the code, we're just going to compile it. And if you guys want to go into the code, obviously you're going to have access to it. So let's go where I don't remember where we put PHP. Oh, here we go. Let's go where we put PHP. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do it from here. And there may be different ways to do this. The way I've been doing it is I create modules with the same name as the ones I'm going to import. In this case, one is going to be DVDAF. Oh. I don't have permission for that, so I'm going to root myself and do it again. There you go. So that creates the skeleton of an extension. So that's what this script, the meaning of this script is, as ext for extension and skl for skeleton, and then the extension name, which is DVDAF. And I'm going to create a second skeleton, which is for DVDAF3. So now, if I were to recompile PHP, I would just have created two empty modules. Namely, as we see there. Now, what I will do is over here where I got my PHP extension, you can see that I'm going to go PHP extension, and you can see the two directories, VDAF, the VDAF3. And over here, you can see all the extensions that this PHP source code came with. And I'm just going to do a more here, and you can see DVDAF and DVDAF3, which we just created. Okay, so I'm going to go cd DVDAF, and this is the skeleton that the script just created. We're not going to use any of that because we already have it working, but what I'll do is I'll just move this to a different directory. So I'm going to make the original and move, can I do star? Yes, right, so I just moved everything to that original directory, and there you have it. And I'm going to do the same thing for DVDAF3, make the original directory and move everything into original in case we need it for some reason later, right? And now I'm going to move the DVDAF, and I'm pointing at the screen as you can see with my finger. We can do we can move the DVDAF and the DVDAF3 source code onto there. And you can do it with the move command, and obviously you can do it with the copy and paste thing using this type of interface. And let me see. So that is, I'm not going to move the ORI, so I'm going to remove the ORI directory in my source, because I want to retain whatever it is that the skeleton has created. And I'm going to do the same thing for the DVDAF3 source, right? And now everything that's in here, I'm just going to move onto there. Just going to move, oops. And there are no hidden files or anything. You can do it -LA here. There are no hidden files here. So I'm just going to move everything to here. And this is the DVDAF, so that gets moved to DVDAF. And when I come here, oops, sorry, this is DVDAF3. You can see everything got moved. And now over here, I'm gonna do the same thing with DVDAF3. Move, difference is here is 3. And then when I go here to DVDAF3, everything got moved here, right? So that's empty. And so that's all, we're all done with that. I'm gonna remove that so that we don't get confused later. And now my download thingy where I expanded, the folder where I expanded that archive is clean. And my extension has the code necessary for compiling my PHP module. So I'm going to go up a couple of directories, and this is the root of the PHP distribution. And I should have captured that, right, in the what you might call it, in the guide. Let's do a history here. And here we go. That's where we started. And I'm just going to copy this guy here. So what did we do? I went to this directory, and just in case you don't have it, I'm going to remake there. Install. No, this is the wrong one. Here we go. Download. Where is that? I guess I didn't copy this part. Let me update the guide. Copy. So make install, make download, and if you're going to use a different tree, you can use a different tree. I'm just going to go there. And I'm going to make this a little bit smaller as well. Okay. Then we go in, and from my VM share, from this directory, I'm unzipping it. And you can, this we're just me showing you what was there. And so here is the work. So what we did was we are in download and the create PHP extension and DVDF. When we distribute the archives, these names may change a little bit, so you guys are gonna have to be, be on the up and up and try to figure out what's going on. But so what we're doing here is we're removing the original directory, which I'm not sure whether we're going to include or not, but if we include, you remove it, for DVDAF and for DVDAF3. And then what we did was, okay, so let's do differently. Let's do CD. Let's move to that directory. Let's remove the ORI, and then let's move everything to DVDAF. Okay, and then let's do the same thing for DVDAF3. So that's what we did. And the other thing we did on the other window, right here, was history. We did, okay, so we did this. So we created, okay, so that there it is, we created it. It's already there. The other thing we did was we went there and then we moved to ORI. All right, so let's do that here. Let's go. We went to extension DVDAF and we make a directory called ORI and we move everything to ORI. And then we did the same thing for DVDAF2. And so create the skeleton modules over here. What we did was save the creation script. Files in case we need them, and copy code. So that is exactly where we are now, I think. Okay. None of these other things here. No, that's old. PHP DFT remove -i4. I don't remember what that is. How quickly we forget. All right, I think we're good with this. Now, so that's old, obviously. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to each of these folders. So it doesn't matter now. I'm done with one of these, so I'm just gonna minimize this and bring this guy here. So let's go to my extension. And there are, it's probably true with PHP as well. There are a couple files, or there's one file rather, that controls whether the environment is the development environment or the production environment. And we're using that in the same way to oops, I don't want to go here. To for our VM, to identify that as the VM. So we're gonna go to the extensions directory in the PHP source. There we go. And I'm gonna VI, or edit rather, these two files. One, they're called server.h and as you can see here, it defines this three variables that are used throughout the code. So maybe there was a better way to do it, more elegant, but guess what? We did it the way we did. So this will tell the module that the source code is going to be using, is going to be deployed in FilmAf edu as opposed to .com, right? So, oh, sorry, this is the wrong. Oh, come on. Oh, what is that? 2s hash space y2. Why does it show twice? Okay, undo. I don't know what I did here. 2x. This is a confusion. All right, this should do it. Oh, this is, oh, Jesus Christ. All right. How quickly we forget. All right, so this is the way it was, right? And I forgot this is the C source. So comment is for the line is double slashes, and the hash is just the preprocessor directive. And so that's what we need to do. So we uncommented the .com, and we uncommented the .edu, and we commented out the .com. And because we don't want that to be changed by accident, I'm going to make it 444, which means everybody can read but nobody can write. So that was good for the first module, which is the C module and the C++ module. And again, the reason why we have two modules is because we started migrating from C to C++, and then we ran out of steam. Come on, guy. And where are we? Where's my cursor? Here we go. Alright, so that's the same thing. I commented out .com and I uncommented .edu. And I'm gonna do the same thing in terms of schmodding it. And off we go. So at this point, everything should look good in the source. And if you had several machines that you were doing development work, you would, adjust these in a similar fashion. And the fact that we made it 444 prevents you from overwriting that file accidentally, which has been known to happen. Alrighty, so let's go back to that directory, and what I'm gonna change the owner of those files to be dvdaf.dvdaf, so that if we happen to be editing and changing them in the future, we don't have to mess around with root, especially when we're transferring files through SFTP or whatever tool we're using. All right, so at this point, all the modules are in and they're ready to be compiled. And to do that, we're just gonna go to our place where the PHP root is. We're gonna touch the files. Usually I touch them just in case, and what touching is doing is updating the date and time of the last update. I'm not sure if this is needed anymore. This used to be needed with the 5.3 version because the make files were a little bit messed up and you had to clean up things manually before you did. What we'll do is we'll try to do it without running these commands, and if it works, we'll get rid of them. And so I'm going to make this color so that I'll remember to remove them. So this is the configuration command, the same one that we ran before. The difference is that I over here added enable dvdaf and enable dvdaf3, again, two different modules, because we just talked about that. And now it's configuring. And if you're creating your own PHP modules, some people arrive to this video and have no idea what FilmAf is, but they're just doing, oh, that's no good. Unrecognized options, enable dvdaf and enable dvdaf3. That's not good. It didn't find our modules. How can that be? It's always an adventure. This looks as it should. And let's look at the ORI. That is weird. So this is what we should be using. So I'm gonna just hold on. Okay. Works exactly as it is. That's exactly how it was. And here is exactly the same. And this is exactly the same. Huh. That is weird. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do this again and compile without the new source code. So just gonna rename DVDAF. The extension directory, I'm gonna rename it something else. .new, and the same thing with DVDAF3. .new, and I'm gonna create the skeletons again. Dun, 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 dun. And I'm gonna create the DVDAF3 again. So you can see that, oops. You can see the .new and the non.new directories here that haven't been touched. So let me go back to, you know what? Let me undo that. Maybe, remember when we just said that we didn't need this shit? Maybe we do. So in order to test that, let me just do the configure again. Coming along for the ride. Like if you decide to install this on your computer, you're gonna run into this. Yeah, see, same problem. So what's happening is that we Okay, let's try that. And if that doesn't work, if that does not enable the configuration script to recognize the new modules, then we'll use this auto command, which is to delete a bunch of additional files that the script generates. Aha, that worked. So that was the problem, okay? We do have to run this build config force. So I'm gonna go back here, copy this format. Now, come on, guy. Copy this format here. And I try to use write as opposed to Word, but it's not up to the task. It's, you know, whatever. You get spoiled with tools. Tools, you know, one little feature that something is missing can make or break your day. And the format painting, it's like I can't live without it, because everything has to have the right format. So I'm gonna go back to ext, and I'm gonna remove the DVD-AF and the DVD-AF3, the new ones that I created, and I'm gonna rename the DVD-AF .new to DVD-AF, and rename the DVD-AF through new to DVD-AF3, and now all of that should be kosher. And we go back to where we were. I'm going to do the touch again, because remember, these have older timestamps than the last compilation, so the touch will bring it to new timestamps. Oh, actually, it didn't compile. Whatever, didn't make a difference. I'm gonna run the force again just in case. And now I'm gonna configure it again. And hopefully that's gonna work. So if you're doing this for the first time, the main quality is perseverance, like in most things in life. Perseverance trumps almost everything else. All right, clean, well, as long as you realize when it's worth persevering. All right, so make clean gets rid of the old stuff that the previous build built. And let's do with 8 threads. I could do more, but I'm not gonna reboot the VM just to add more CPUs. I did have to add more memory. I think when I created the VM, I had only 4 gigs, and in order to export some data out of the database, I was exporting collections yesterday, so we're gonna make those available very soon. In order to, by the time this video is up, that's gonna already have happened. All right, so what happened here? It is are those failures or just warnings? So obviously the PHP, this was done with PHP 3 and this is PHP 4. Sorry, 5.3 and this is 5.4. And the API has changed enough that it's not compiling, which is unfortunate. All right, so I'm gonna have to stop the video here because this is gonna be this is not gonna be straightforward. And what I'll do is I'm gonna do a touch on both of those folders, and I'm gonna do a make, and I'm gonna redirect the output to compilation errors. compilation errors.txt so that I can look at it with oh, I think I need forgot. Oh, I think it's the %2 or something. Pain, yes. All right. That's what I'm looking for. Where is that? Here we go. Okay, let's try this. The ampersand. I think it's been so long that I don't do these things. I forget. Let's see. All right, that. My compilation errors. And there they are. Excitement. All right, guys, I'm gonna stop the video, fix this. When I come back, I will show you what the fix was, and we'll continue from there. Take care. Bye.